another little link that said, "Can't leave the house. Click here." So I thought, okay. So I clicked there, and before I knew it, I had lists of Obama supporters across the country.
Wow.
And I could choose. So they were doing get out the vote calls, and so I could choose which states I wanted to have lists for. And just on my computer screen, these lists appeared with a little suggested spiel of what I should say.
Cool.
You know, so I targeted Ohio before Ohio polls closed, and then once the polls closed in Ohio, I moved over to Missouri, you know, so I picked all the swing states, and I was making phone calls until 3 a.m. when I knew that he had secured it at that point.
And you could have played the Brits saying, you know, it's like, hey, we're all for Obama here in Britain. If you guys don't vote for him, you're trash.
Actually, I worked really, really hard to try to get my American accent.
Yeah, I imagine.
And I can only do it with a really funny face.
That's right, because here in America, we don't like foreigners telling us what to do. We run the world, and if you don't like it, go somewhere else.
That's right. Yeah, you're one of them foreigners here, aren't you?
Oh, beautiful. Oh, I love it. Look at it. It's gorgeous. It's really nice. Thank you. You're welcome. So I said, hello, my name's Suzanne Savage, and I'm calling from the Obama campaign to see if you've gotten out to vote today.
That is not quite American enough.
Yeah, right.
There's too much tea in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Cotton. Yeah, exactly.
Water. I had some water.
Yeah.
And I was getting these little black ladies on the phone from Ohio saying, honey child, I've been out to vote, but I want you to know this election is for you, honey.
You know,
This is for the next generation. Yeah.
I went canvassing door to door in Indiana, and actually I was originally going to come to Iowa, and I thought, oh, I'll just come for the weekend, and I'll do some campaigning, and then I'll go and visit people. And the person in the campaign here said about 3 weeks before the election, don't tell anybody, but he's 11 points ahead in the poll. Go to Indiana. So when I was in Indiana, and I went to the first person I went to talk to was this elderly black woman and it was this small town in the middle of nowhere, and she was on a list of people who she had voted for Obama in the primary, but had not voted early, and it turned out the reason she had been ill, and it was a long drive, and she didn't have a car, so she wasn't able to vote early. And so we go to her house. And you ever see those commercials for Publishers Clearinghouse?
Oh dear.
When like they ring your doorbell
And they start
and so you just won $20 million. And this woman, we thought she was going to have a heart attack. And I'm thinking, it's not Barack here. It's two guys from Chicago. And so we did our spiel and we said, you know, we're just here to remind you to vote on November 3rd. And she said, honey, if they chop me up into little pieces, and my hand has to, you know, something to think, if my hand has to like walk all the way, you know, 20 miles into town, I'm gonna vote.
Wow, that's powerful.
No, it was like I don't think
that's a moment, man. I call that a moment.
I don't think I got how big of a deal it was. I mean, I studied African American history, and I don't think I got it until I met some of these older African American people.
Well, they thought they never would see it in their lifetime, and I didn't think about it.
They all said that. They said I've never, everybody said that. I mean, I didn't think I would see it in. I didn't think I would see it in.
Actually, I didn't either.
In Suzanne's daughter's lifetime.
And it might come sometime by the time Star Trek gets here, but 24th century or something.
Well, I was pretty damn convinced that it was going to happen. I was just so disappointed the numbers were so close. That was my biggest disappointment.
People keep talking about how there was this landslide, and it's like, excuse me, it wasn't a landslide, and we have to be really careful of that, I think.
However,
10% who swung, and those 10% can swing back. You know, it was a landslide in the Electoral College, but not in the popular vote.
Not the popular, yeah, but it was a clear victory.
He got a higher percentage than any Democratic presidential candidate since 1964.
Yeah.
But you have
Clinton never got better than 50%. Jimmy Carter won with 51%, and that's it.
Yeah, but when you weigh all the conditions, especially the economical conditions that had flourished just in time against, you know, the other side, and then the war that had been lingering and all that was piling up, I thought it was going to be like 75 to 25, you know, Victor, you know. I mean, I'm exaggerating a bit, but, you know,
So we have corruption in the American balloting system that they could have stolen it again. They could have very
Oh, and I was convinced there was going to be a civil war if that happened. If they were going to, if that was going to come out Republican, I was going to come back from my bike trip to smash windows downtown Iowa.
Where was that?
As soon as I saw that we had secured Ohio, I said, it's ours.
Right.
It's our election. They can't
It was a bad
even
time.
steal
It
it
was a
now.
bad time.
Well,
They talk, you know, people were talking in Chicago. People were talking about if Obama loses the election, there will be riots.
right. Oh, I'm so convinced of that. Absolutely. Yeah.
But again,
And especially after being so far ahead in the polls, it really would have, if he would have lost, it really would have raised some questions.
Right.
Well, if Carl Rove would have been at the helm,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think for a moment it very well may have gone that way.
Sure.
Because they stole Florida and they stole Ohio State. It's all of the data in research and recent years.
Well, I always tell people 2000 was a coup d'etat.
oh,
Right.
yeah, but that was, you know what really disappointed me in 2000 is the fact that the Democrats just went, okay. I mean, if it had been in France or anywhere, they were like, you would have had 3 million of people in the streets. I mean, especially when the Supreme Court stopped the recount because he was catching up. I mean, it's not
It's domestic for our democracy.
Angela Davis giving the Martin Luther King speech on January 20th.
Right.
And she received this letter from a friend, and I can't remember the African nation, but they went on and on and on, and you know they had this election, and there's a brother who's going to oversee it, and then, you know, and then at the very end it said, how peculiar that this is the United States of America. It wasn't happening.
British people keep asking me to explain it to them, you know, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. I have no analysis. I don't understand it.
Well, yeah, you know, the thing of, you know, the 2000 election, you know, that they gave up so quickly. I mean, you know, there's a people in Madagascar won't tolerate, you know, election being stolen, but here they're like, oh, okay, you know. We don't want instability. It doesn't make the market
We wouldn't
go
want to
down.
fracture the nation.
No.
Well, I mean, this might sound a little bit insulting to some of you, but in all of my heart, I feel that some of the smartest people in the world are in this country, you know, but also some of the most naive are here as well, you know. So, and there's large numbers of it,
I was about to say naive is a polite word.
Right, yes.
That's really a little darker than that.
Well, you were knocking at that lady's door. I was cycling in Texas, and at the end of the day, I got to this old man's house. I mean, he was old. He was so old. He was in front of the TV and working on his desk. And I knocked on his window because he couldn't hear me knocking on the door. All I needed was some water. Anyway, we ended up having a conversation, and this is like northern Texas, right? And he's like 82, 86, 89, I don't know. And this was a pretty nice farm, a well-to-do person kind of, you know. But he lived all by himself. Anyway, the short of it is that I got to talk to him a little bit, and then it was just days before the election, and I asked him, you have seen a lot in your life. What do you think is going to happen to these elections? Are we ready to have a black president? I asked him, and he said, absolutely not. You know, oh boy, that was a nice conversation, you know. But I mean, I played sort of, I sort of played, dumb and just talked to him. I wasn't about to embark on a campaign to change his heart. You know?
I wouldn't do that.
Oh,
you're not going to win the
HBO's
vote.
been running that hour-long segment that Pelosi's daughter
I was
made
going
a
to mention
documentary last year.
It is very scary.
And she just approaches all these people,
It is very scary.
these groups, and it is.
When you see that documentary, you know that you better be careful.
It's weeping because they're going to lose their country.
And they say Obama is a terrorist, and the others. I mean, it's unbelievable.
He's going to steal their guns.
Yeah.
And my dad was telling me that there are people around who are actually calling for armed insurrection now.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, down south you'd hear. Well, hopefully I'll be. You'd hear comments like in Arkansas. Oh, maybe I'll go down in history and do the guy in, things like that. It's like good grief. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Tough. Very tough.
Well, there was